My precious one, come and see with me. Look at your hands, these instruments of the everyday. Look at the day that stretches before you, woven with threads of ordinary moments. The morning cup, the commute, the work task, the listening ear, the prepared meal, the closed door at day's end. You have been taught to search for my presence in the grand, the miraculous, the mountaintop moments. But today, I want to whisper a secret to your spirit. I want to show you the hallowed ground of the mundane. The sacred power hidden not in spite of the smallness of your acts, but because of it. You often divide your world into the sacred and the secular, the holy, reserved for prayers and sanctuaries, and the ordinary, which is just life. But my child, this is a fracture I did not create. I am the God who walked in the garden in the cool of the day, the God of earth and soil and companionship. I am the God who declared the work of human hands, building, planting, creating, good. I inhabited a human body that knew tiredness, that ate meals, that washed feet. Do you see? I sanctified the mundane by entering into it completely. Therefore, nothing in your day is outside the realm of becoming sacred. It is all raw material for communion with me. The small act is not insignificant. It is the fundamental unit of a faithful life. A cathedral is not built with a single colossal stone, but with countless carefully placed bricks. Your spiritual legacy is not constructed in one dramatic moment of martyrdom or mission, but in the infinite, tiny moments of choice that shape your character and echo in the unseen. Consider the widow's 2 mites. In the eyes of the world, a negligible sum, a small act. But in my eyes, it was the entire symphony of her trust, her surrender, her devotion, played out on the stage of a single, quiet gesture. I measured not the coin's weight, but the heart's weight. Her small act was a thunderclap in the heavens. Your life is filled with these 2 mites. A patient breath when you want to snap. A silent prayer for a stranger who looks burdened. Choosing integrity on a report no one will double-check. Reading one more story to a weary child. Sending a text that says, "I'm thinking of you." Withholding gossip. Starting your day with a whisper of my name. These are not interruptions to your real spiritual life. They are the very substance of it. The enemy of your soul wants you to believe that unless it is big, loud, and seen, it does not count. He wants you to despise the days of small things. He wants you to feel your life is unimportant because it is not adorned with public accolades. But I tell you, my beloved, the economy of my kingdom operates on a different currency. The currency of obedient love, spent in the hidden transactions of everyday life. When you wash the dishes, you are practicing stewardship. When you meet a deadline with excellence, you are honoring me as your master. When you listen, truly listen to someone, you are mirroring my attentiveness to you. When you choose joy in a traffic jam, you are declaring that your peace is not circumstantial. These are not metaphors. They are spiritual realities. You are training your soul in the gymnasium of the ordinary for eternity. This is the first great victory in the unseen, the victory of perspective. It is the moment you stop waiting for a grand stage to be faithful and realize the stage is already beneath your feet, in your home, your office, your commute, your supermarket aisle. Your audience of one sees every scene. And every small act of love, patience, or faith performed in conscious offering to me becomes a radiant point of light in the unseen realm. Do not despise the mundane, my child. Do not rush through it to get to the important things. For in your rushing, you trample over the very altar where I most often meet you. I am in the detail. I am in the process. I am in the repeated, faithful doing of the right thing, long after the feeling has faded. Today, I invite you to reconsecrate your ordinary. As you go about your tasks, touch them with prayer. Offer them to me silently. This email, Lord, this meeting, this errand, this conversation. Let it be an act of worship. You are not just completing tasks. You are placing bricks in the sanctuary of a life lived with and for me. Each small act, done in love and offered to me, is sanctified. It is lifted from the realm of the mundane into the realm of the eternal. Your greatness in my kingdom will not be measured by the scale of your visibility, but by the depth of your faithfulness in the small, the hidden, the unseen. For it is here, in the soil of the everyday, that the roots of your character grow deep and strong, able to withstand every storm. And from this soil, the quiet, world-changing victories truly spring. So breathe. Look around. See the sacred potential in every minute, every interaction, every small choice. This is your mission field. This is your altar. This is where the great impact begins. My beloved, now that we have begun to see the sacred in the small, let me draw back the veil for you. Let me show you what your eyes, in their current state, cannot perceive, but what your spirit already knows is real. We are stepping from the solid ground of the mundane into the luminous truth of the unseen realm. This is not a metaphor. This is not a comforting idea for the simplistic. This is the foundational reality of your existence. You are not merely a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences. You are, at your core, a spiritual being navigating a physical reality, and your life is lived simultaneously in two worlds that are intimately, irrevocably intertwined. The scripture says, "We fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." This is an invitation to adjust your vision, to understand that the most enduring, the most potent, the most real aspects of your life are currently operating in a dimension that your five senses cannot access. Yet your spirit, the eternal core of who you are, is a native of that realm. It is your true homeland. Think of it this way. You are living in a house with 2 floors. You spend most of your conscious time on the ground floor, the physical world of sights, sounds, touch, taste, and smell. Here things seem solid, sequential, and subject to the laws of time and decay. But there is an upper floor, an unseen floor, where the atmosphere is different. Here the currency is not matter, but spirit. The laws are not of physics, but of faith, love, and principalities. This upper floor is not distant. It is all around you, interpenetrating every molecule of the lower floor. What happens on one floor profoundly affects the other. A shout of joy on the upper floor, a spiritual breakthrough, can manifest as a wave of peace on the lower floor, your emotional state. A toxic spill on the lower floor, a sinful choice, a harbored bitterness, pollutes the atmosphere on the upper floor, inviting darkness. Your small acts, my precious one, are not confined to the ground floor. They are not locked in the moment of their occurrence. When you perform an act of kindness, a choice of integrity, a whisper of prayer, you are doing something on the ground floor that sends a shock wave of light through the upper, unseen floor. Conversely, when you give in to irritation, to deceit, to despair, you send a ripple of shadow. These ripples are not neutral. They are formative. They shape the spiritual ecology around you. They either reinforce the architecture of my kingdom of light or fortify the outposts of the kingdom of darkness. This is why your small choices are of cosmic significance. You are not just deciding whether to be patient with a slow clerk. You are mustering the forces of patience in the unseen realm against the spirit of agitation. You are not just choosing to forgive a minor slight. You are wielding the sword of forgiveness to sever a chain of resentment that, left unchecked, could anchor a stronghold of bitterness in your soul and in the atmosphere around you. These are everyday victories in the unseen, because they are engagements in a real, though invisible war. A war for your peace, your joy, your influence, and the very souls of those around you. Consider the story of Elisha's servant in Dothan. Surrounded by a physical army, he was terrified, seeing only with ground floor vision. But when Elisha prayed, "Lord, open his eyes," the servant's vision was attuned to the upper floor. He saw the unseen realm. The hills were full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. The protection, the power, the reality was there all along. It was simply unseen. Your life is like that. You feel surrounded by problems, by limitations, by the sheer weight of the physical. But I am asking you today to let me open the eyes of your heart, to see, by faith, what is truly present. When you offer a cup of water in my name, do not see just a physical act. See the angelic activity it may trigger to minister to that person's spirit. When you resist a temptation in secret, do not see just a private moral victory. See the celebration in the heavens as a foothold of the enemy is dislodged from your territory. When you worship in your car, see the darkness fleeing from the atmosphere around your neighborhood. These are not fantasies. They are the truer truths, operating in the unseen. Living with this awareness transforms everything. It turns monotonous routine into a strategic mission. It turns trivial irritations into opportunities for heroic spiritual warfare. It turns lonely obedience into a collaborative dance with heaven. You are never alone, and you are never just going through the motions. You are a spirit being, indwelt by my spirit, operating in a physical world to effect change in the spiritual realm, which in turn alters the physical realm. This is the great dance of faith. This understanding also brings sobriety. It means your hidden thoughts, your private indulgences, your secret grudges are not secret at all in the unseen. They are broadcasted. They have weight and consequence. But let this not condemn you. Let it invite you into greater honesty and partnership with me. Bring it all into my light. Let's deal with it together, so your upper floor, the unseen realm of your spirit, becomes a clean, well-lit place, filled with the fragrance of worship and the armor of light. So today, my child, I call you to a life of dual citizenship. Be fully present here on the ground floor. Tend to your duties with excellence and love, but live with the constant joyful awareness of the upper floor. Walk in the knowledge that your smallest act of faith sends echoes into eternity. Your quiet word of praise shifts atmospheres. Your unseen forgiveness breaks chains you may never see with your physical eyes. You are a bridge between the worlds, a conduit of my grace. See with the eyes of your heart. Live in the reality of the unseen. For it is there that your greatest victories are first won, long before they ever manifest in the seen. My beloved child, come to the water's edge with me. Look at this still, clear pool that is the present moment of your life. Now watch as I drop a single, small stone into its center. See it break the surface? That is your small act, a choice, a word, a prayer, a kindness. It seems to disappear quickly, but now observe. From that point of contact, something beautiful and unstoppable begins. A circle forms, then expands. Then another, wider circle emerges from the first, and then another and another. Each ring growing larger, moving outward, touching distances the original stone could never reach. This, my precious one, is the divine ripple effect. And this is how your small acts create great impact in the unseen. They are not events, but generative events. They initiate a chain reaction in the realm of spirit that moves through time and space, touching shores you may never see in this life. You are conditioned to think in terms of cause and immediate, visible effect. You plant a seed and look for the flower tomorrow. You speak a word and wait for the response. But in my economy, the effect is never confined to the immediate. The ripple moves outward and inward, forward and backward, in the tapestry of time. A single act of obedience today can heal a wound from yesterday in the unseen realms, and can provision a miracle for someone 10 years from now. Your life is not a series of disconnected moments, but a continuous flowing river of influence, where every droplet affects the whole. Let me show you the anatomy of this holy ripple. The first circle, the immediate unseen. The moment your small act is born from a heart of faith, it creates an immediate shift in the spiritual atmosphere within you and around you. A prayer whispered in your kitchen sends a frequency of light into the heavenly places. A decision to thank me instead of complain invites a host of my angels to begin working on your behalf. This first circle is where the victory is first registered, in the unseen registry of heaven. Your name is recorded as faithful in that moment. The enemy's plan to derail you through discouragement is thwarted. This is the first victory. The second circle, the relational unseen. The ripple now touches the spiritual fabric of every life connected to yours. Your patience with your child doesn't just calm a moment. It sends a wave of peace into their spirit, disarming a spirit of anxiety that may have sought to attach to them that day. Your integrity in a business deal cleanses the spiritual transaction, releasing blessings not only on you, but on the company, the employees, and their families. Your intercessory prayer for a friend becomes a spiritual lifeline I can use to pull them from a pit they haven't even fallen into yet. You are connected in the spirit, and your ripples cross and mingle with the ripples of others in a beautiful, complex web of grace. The third circle, the generational unseen. Here the ripple gains momentum. Your act of breaking a cycle of anger, of choosing generosity over lack, of ending a legacy of gossip, this does not stop with you. It alters the spiritual inheritance of your children and their children. It changes the family line in the unseen. A stronghold that has plagued your bloodline for generations can be dismantled by your consistent small acts of contrary faith. You are not just living for today. You are sending waves of redemption into the future, clearing a path of blessing for those whose names you do not yet know. The fourth circle, the global unseen. My beloved, do not think your small life is insignificant to the whole. The body of my Son is one. When one part honors the head, the entire body benefits. Your faithful act in your hidden place strengthens the entire church militant across the globe in the unseen. Your victory over a temptation empowers a brother or sister on the other side of the world facing the same assault. Your worship in your private pain adds to the great chorus that surrounds my throne, shifting the global spiritual atmosphere. You are part of a vast, unseen symphony, and your note matters to the entire composition. The fifth circle, the eternal unseen. Finally, the ripple reaches the eternal shores. Your small act of love is captured and preserved forever. It becomes part of the eternal narrative, the weight of glory you are accumulating. Those cups of cold water given in my name are eternal transactions. The love you showed will be waiting for you, perfected and multiplied, in the age to come. This ripple never ends. It echoes in the halls of forever. This is why discouragement is a lie. You say, I've prayed for years and see nothing. But I see the ripples. I see the first circle of your persistent faith creating a bastion of hope around you. I see the second circle touching and softening a hardened heart in your family. I see the third circle preparing a generation that will walk in greater freedom. I see the fourth circle strengthening the weary warrior across the globe. I see the fifth circle, your eternal account, overflowing. You must trust the process of the ripple. You are responsible for dropping the stone, for the act, the choice, the prayer. I am responsible for the expanse of the ripple. Your part is faithfulness. My part is multiplication. You give me the loaves and fish of your small obedient act. I break it, bless it, and feed the multitudes in the unseen realms. So today, do not look for the splash. Look for the ripple. Live with the conscious, joyful knowledge that nothing done in love is ever lost. Nothing offered in faith is ever wasted. The hug, the forgiven debt, the silent stand for truth, the whispered Jesus help them. These are not small things. They are divine stones cast into the pond of eternity When you feel your act is too small, remember the stone was small too. But the ripples are endless. Your impact is far, far greater than you can measure. So drop your stone, my child. Drop it with faith. Drop it with love. And then watch, with the eyes of your spirit, as I carry your faithfulness farther than you could ever ask or imagine. The victory is not just in the act. It is in the endless, beautiful, unstoppable ripple through eternity. My precious one, we have seen how a small act creates ripples in the unseen. But now we must go deeper, beyond the action itself, to the very wellspring from which it flows. For in the economy of heaven, the external deed is measured by the internal seed. The what you do is always interpreted through the why you do it. This is the mystery and the majesty of the heart's intent, the spirit of the act. You can perform the same outward action, give the same sum of money, speak the same words of encouragement, complete the same task, with two entirely different inner postures. One can be a fragrant offering that shakes heaven. The other can be a hollow clang that echoes only on earth. The difference is not in the hand's motion, but in the heart's devotion. The unseen realm does not register mere activity. It resonates with spiritual frequency. And that frequency is set by your intent. Let me show you the contrast, my child. Consider the sound of an orchestra. Two violinists can play the same note on the same sheet of music. One plays with technical perfection, but his mind is on his paycheck, his eyes on the clock. The sound is accurate, but it lacks soul. It does not move the listener. The other plays the same note, but she pours into it the story of her grandmother's love, her own journey of grief and hope, her offering of worship. The note is not just heard, it is felt. It vibrates with a life that transcends the instrument. This is the difference between an act done from duty and an act done from love. Both may look identical to the human eye, but in the unseen realm, they generate completely different waveforms. Your heart, my beloved, is the conductor of this spiritual frequency. 3 key intentions set the tone for how your small act is amplified in the unseen. First, love. When your small act is motivated by genuine, self-forgetting love, for me and for the other, it becomes a conduit of my very nature. God is love, and when you love, you transmit my essence into the situation. A sandwich given with resentment feeds only the body. A sandwich given with love, with a silent prayer, feeds the body and ministers to the soul. It carries a spiritual nutrient. In the unseen, the act of love is a brilliant flash of light, a demolition charge against the darkness of indifference. It is the most potent intent of all. Second, faith. When your small act is a tangible expression of your trust in me, when you give beyond your comfort, forgive when justice screams for restitution, praise when despair feels more logical, you are performing an act of spiritual defiance. You are declaring, against all visible evidence, that my reality is truer. This act of faith is not a passive belief. It is an active currency. It purchases miracles in the unseen marketplace. The widow giving her last mites was acting in radical faith, and her currency purchased an eternal testimony. Your act of faith, no matter how small, funds my kingdom operations in the unseen. Third, obedience. Sometimes the heart does not feel loving or faith-filled. You feel numb, weary, doubtful. But you remember my word. You recall a gentle nudge from my spirit, and you choose to act in obedience anyway. This, my child, is perhaps the most precious intent of all. It is raw, willful trust. It is love as a verb, not a feeling. When you obey from a place of sheer devotion to my will, even with tears in your eyes, your act carries the weight of a surrendered will. It is the "not my will but yours" of Gethsemane, played out in your kitchen, your office, your quiet struggle. In the unseen, this kind of obedience thunders. It aligns the gears of heaven and earth. It moves my heart profoundly. But beware the intents that dampen the spirit of your act, the desire for human recognition, to be seen as good, the grip of obligation, to check a box, or the subtle currency of manipulation, giving to get. These intents tie your act to the earth. They seek their reward here and now. And in doing so, they forfeit the eternal amplification I long to give. They are like planting a seed wrapped in plastic. It cannot connect with the soil, cannot grow, cannot multiply. The act may still benefit another, but its spiritual impact, its unseen victory, is minimal. This is why I look at the heart. I am not auditing your performance. I am communing with your spirit. The woman who anointed my son's feet with expensive perfume performed a small, tangible act. But the spirit of her act, her lavish, wasteful, love-driven devotion, filled the house with a fragrance that transcended smell. It was a spiritual fragrance that still permeates my church today. The disciples saw only the wasteful cost. I saw the priceless heart. So how do you cultivate the right intent? It begins with momentary, honest introspection before the act. A quick heart check. Lord, why am I about to do this? Cleanse my motivation. Let this be for you. It is nurtured by staying connected to me. For apart from me, you can do nothing of eternal value. Your loving intent flows from my love filling you. Your faith intent is sparked by my word abiding in you. Your obedience intent is strengthened by my spirit guiding you. Do not be discouraged if your motives feel mixed. Bring the mixture to me. Lord, I want to do this out of love, but part of me is resentful. Take my small, flawed yes and purify it. I am the refiner. I can take your imperfect intent and, in the furnace of my grace, burn away the dross, leaving the golden offering behind. Today, my beloved, I invite you to shift your focus from perfecting the action to perfecting the heart behind the action. As you go about your small acts, let your silent prayer be, let this be in love, let this be in faith, let this be in obedience to you. You are not just doing, you are being a lover, a believer, an obedient child. When the spirit of the act is pure, the act itself becomes a holy vessel, capable of carrying infinite grace. A cup of water given in the spirit of love becomes a sacrament. A task completed in the spirit of faith becomes a declaration of war on chaos. A hard word spoken in the spirit of obedient truth becomes a surgical knife that heals. The unseen victories are won not by the might of the hand, but by the posture of the heart. Tend to your heart garden, and your small acts will naturally bear eternal fruit. My beloved warrior, come, sit by the fire of my presence, and let me tell you of the true nature of your day. You believe you are living a series of routines, making breakfast, answering emails, navigating, conversations, enduring waits, facing frustrations. But I see something else entirely. I see a battlefield, not one of clanging steel and shouted war cries, but a profound, silent, and ceaseless engagement in the spirit. Every choice you make, every word you swallow or release, every thought you entertain or dismiss, is a move on this unseen battlefield. And each time you choose according to my nature, you win a quiet triumph that resounds with the crashing force of collapsed strongholds in the heavenly places. You must understand, your daily life is the front line. The enemy does not primarily attack you with grand, obvious calamities. He attacks through the small incursions, the simmering irritation, the subtle temptation to dishonesty, the creeping doubt, the invitation to resent, the slow drain of comparison. He knows that a fortress is not taken by a single, massive blow to the gate, but by the steady, unseen erosion of its foundation, brick by tiny brick. Therefore, your greatest victories are not the occasional dramatic breakthroughs, but the daily, disciplined repelling of these small incursions. Let me illuminate your battlefield for you. The battlefield of the mind. This is where the war is often won or lost before any action is taken. A thought lands, a memory of an old failure, a fear about tomorrow, a critical judgment of another. That thought is not neutral. It is a spiritual projectile. The enemy fires it, hoping you will catch it, examine it, and let it take root. Your quiet triumph is the instantaneous conscious act of capturing that thought and bringing it into obedience. You replace the lie with my truth. I am not a failure. I am my beloved's. I am not abandoned. You are with me. They are not my enemy. They are a soul for whom Christ died. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual warfare of the highest order. Each time you do this, you win a skirmish. You starve a stronghold. You declare whose voice has authority in the sanctuary of your mind. The battlefield of the moment. This is the split second between stimulus and response. Someone is rude to you. A plan falls apart. You are falsely accused. In that flash of a moment, a fork in the spiritual realm appears. One path leads to the old, fleshly reaction, the sharp retort, the internal meltdown, the defensive posture. The other path is the narrow gate of the Spirit, forgiveness, peace, surrender, grace. Choosing that narrow gate in the heat of the moment is a staggering victory. It feels like a small act of restraint to you, but in the unseen, it is the equivalent of a lone soldier holding a strategic pass against an onslaught. That choice to bless instead of curse, to pray instead of panic, releases angelic reinforcements and confounds the forces of chaos aligned against you. The battlefield of habit. Here, the war is fought not in the dramatic moment, but in the consistent, plodding formation of holy routines. The decision to open my word before opening social media. The choice to speak gratitude before listing complaints. The commitment to pray for your leaders, even when you disagree. These are the trenches of faithfulness. They are unglamorous. They win no earthly applause, but they are building an impenetrable infrastructure of light within your soul. Each time you choose the holy habit over the easy default, you are not just being good. You are laying another course of stone in a fortress of character that will one day be unshakable. The enemy's strategy is to make these habits seem insignificant, optional, a waste of time. Your quiet triumph is to do them anyway, knowing their eternal strategic value. My precious one, when you choose kindness in the face of pettiness, you are not just being nice. You are deploying a weapon of light that scatters a cloud of demonic accusation. When you choose purity in secret, you are not just maintaining morality. You are conducting a precision strike on a network of lust that seeks to enslave a generation. When you choose to worship in pain, you are not just comforting yourself. You are launching a sonic bombardment against the very foundations of despair in your region. This is why your small life is of cosmic importance. You are a soldier in a grand unfolding campaign. Your post may seem quiet, but it is essential. The quiet mother praying over her children is guarding the future. The honest employee working with integrity is reclaiming territory in the marketplace of souls. The gentle friend listening without judgment is building a field hospital for the wounded. Do not be deceived by the lack of fanfare. In the unseen realm, every act of obedience is met with a roar of triumph from the great cloud of witnesses. Every choice for love is a note in the symphony that will one day culminate in the final victory. Your weariness is not a sign of losing. It is often the fatigue of a warrior who has been faithfully engaged. So today, reframe your perspective. See the rude cashier not as an inconvenience, but as a mission. See the frustrating delay not as a waste, but as a divinely appointed holding pattern for your protection. See the temptation not as a personal failing, but as a targeted assault from an intelligence that fears your potential. You are armed for this. My word is your sword. My spirit is your guide and your power. Your faith is your shield. And your love, your stubborn, choosing, acting love, is the very banner you carry into the fight. Walk in this awareness, my beloved soldier. The battles are real, but so are your quiet triumphs. And with each one, You are not just getting through your day. You are, in ways you cannot yet see, changing the world. My precious child, now we come to the heart of the miracle. You have learned that your small acts are sacred, that they ripple in the unseen, that their power lies in the intent of your heart, and that they are victories in a spiritual battle. But now, I want to reveal to you the most glorious truth of all. I am not a passive observer of your faithfulness. I am the active, joyful, miraculous amplifier of it. Your 5 loaves and 2 fish are not just accepted by me. They are taken, blessed, broken, and multiplied by my own hands to feed multitudes in ways you cannot fathom. This is the divine amplification. You see your offering, that small act of kindness, that persistent prayer, that tear shed in secret, that hard-won forgiveness, and you see its limitations. You see its smallness against the vastness of the need, the complexity of the problem, the depth of the wound. You think, what can this possibly do? But you are looking at the seed, and I am looking at the harvest. You are holding the acorn, and I am seeing the forest. When you place that small thing into my hands with a trusting heart, you are not just giving me a thing. You are giving me permission to work a miracle with it. Let me show you how my amplification works. It follows a divine pattern, seen in the feeding of the 5,000, in the wedding at Cana, in every miracle where human insufficiency met divine abundance. First, the presentation. You bring me what you have, however meager. You acknowledge, Lord, this is all I have. It's not much, but it's yours. This act of surrender is the essential first step. It moves the resource from the realm of your own ability, where it is inadequate, into the realm of my sovereignty, where nothing is impossible. The widow's mite left her possession and entered my economy. The boy's lunch left his basket and entered my hands. Second, the blessing. I take your offering and I bless it. I speak life, purpose, and supernatural potential over it. I sanctify it, set it apart for holy use. In that moment of blessing, the very molecular structure of your act changes in the spirit. A simple meal becomes a sacrament. A routine task becomes anointed labor. A whispered prayer becomes a divine decree. The blessing infuses your small thing with my infinite creative power. Third, the breaking. This is the part that often feels confusing or painful. To feed the multitudes, the loaves had to be broken. To become drink for many, the water in the jars had to be poured out. Your small act, once blessed, may feel like it is being dismantled. The kindness you showed seems to be met with ingratitude. The step of faith you took leads into a wilderness. The seed must fall into the ground and die. But understand, this breaking is not destruction. It is distribution. It is the necessary process by which the concentrated blessing is fractured into 1,000 points of light so that it can reach farther than it ever could as a single whole unit. Your brokenness becomes the pathway for my abundance to flow. Fourth, the multiplication. This is my supernatural work. This is where I, the Creator, take the laws of scarcity that bind the natural world and suspend them by the law of the Spirit of life. I multiply, not by duplicating, but by generating. I don't just make more of what you gave. I transform it into what is needed. Your small financial gift becomes provision for a family you've never met, and inspiration for a giver you'll never know. Your prayer for a stranger becomes the catalyst for their salvation a continent away. Your decision to break a generational curse clears the spiritual air for your great-grandchildren. The multiplication happens in the unseen network, where my grace flows like rivers, branching, irrigating, bringing life to dry places you never intended to water. Fifth, the distribution. Finally, the multiplied blessing is given out. It reaches the hungry, the thirsty, the waiting. And here is a beautiful mystery. There is always more left over. My amplification is not efficient. It is excessive. It is abundant. 12 baskets of fragments remained. The jars were filled to the brim. I am a God of more than enough. Your small act, amplified by me, will not only meet the immediate need, but will also create a surplus of grace, a reservoir of blessing that remains for future needs, for your own replenishment, for a testimony of my faithfulness. This is why you must never despise the day of small things. You are not responsible for the multiplication. You are only responsible for the presentation. You bring the loaves and fish. I do the rest. Your role is faith and obedience. My role is miracle and abundance. So when you feel your influence is small, your resources thin, your strength limited, remember, you are perfectly positioned for a miracle of amplification. My power is made perfect in weakness. My strength is showcased in your smallness. The very fact that you feel inadequate is the qualifying condition for my divine math, where 5 plus 2 plus me, a feast for thousands with leftovers. Therefore, offer your small acts with bold expectation. Do not say, "It's just a smile." Say, "Lord, take this smile and amplify it. Let it be a ray of your love that pierces someone's darkness today." Do not say, "It's just a few dollars." Say, "Lord, take this offering and multiply it. Let it become provision, opportunity, and revelation for your purposes." Do not say, "It's just a quiet prayer." Say, "Lord, take this prayer and let it resonate through heaven and earth, binding the works of darkness and releasing your kingdom." Trust the process. Present. Watch me bless. Don't fear the breaking, it is for distribution. Believe for the multiplication, it is my nature. And gather the leftovers. They are your testimony. Your life is a collection of small offerings, and I am the God who specializes in turning collections into banquets, fragments into feasts, and seeds into forests. Your impact is never limited to what you can see or measure. It is limited only by your willingness to place what you have into my hands. So give me your today, your moments, your gestures, your whispers, your sighs, and watch, with the eyes of faith, as I amplify them into eternity. My precious one, we have journeyed together to this final summit. From seeing the sacred in the small, to understanding the unseen ripples, the battles, and my divine amplification, we now arrive at the culmination, the life lived. Not a single act, but a tapestry. Not a momentary victory, but an enduring testament. This is the call to build a legacy of hidden faithfulness. This is where your daily, unseen choices crystallize into an eternal identity, a monument of grace that will outlive your brief breath on this earth. A legacy is not what you leave behind in wills and monuments. A true legacy is what you send ahead, the spiritual architecture you construct in the unseen, which will be your dwelling place, your sphere of authority, your weight of glory for all eternity. You are building that house now, with every small act of surrendered love. And the most enduring materials are those forged in the hidden places, away from the applause of men. This legacy is built through 3 conscious postures. First, the cultivation of a secret history with me. This is the inner chamber, the holy of holies of your life. It is the sum total of all the moments no human saw, the prayers wept into your pillow, the scriptures pondered at dawn, the praises sung in the car, the obediences chosen when compromise would have been easier. This secret history is your truest biography. It is written on scrolls in heaven. It is the record of our friendship. While the world chronicles your public achievements, I am cherishing the narrative of your secret faithfulness. This history becomes the unshakable core of your legacy. When storms come, and they will not shake you. For your roots are deep in the private soil of devotion. Your public life will simply be the overflow of this hidden spring. Second, the construction through consistency, not drama. The world is addicted to the spectacular, the breakthrough, the overnight success. But my kingdom is built on the quiet, relentless power of the repeated yes, the daily returning to the plow, the forgiving for the 77th time, the choosing joy on a gray Tuesday. This consistency is the mortar between the bricks of your legacy. It is unglamorous. It is the opposite of flashy. But it creates a structure of character that is impervious to the fads of culture and the assaults of the enemy. Your legacy will not be a single shining moment that faded, but a steady, warm glow that illuminated a path for others long after you are gone. Third, the concentration on the audience of one. The great saboteur of a hidden legacy is the longing for human validation. The moment you perform your small act to be seen, admired, or thanked, you transfer its reward from the eternal to the temporal. You cash the eternal check for a few coins of fleeting praise. To build a legacy in the unseen, you must train your heart to play to an audience of one. You must perform the symphony of your daily life for my ears alone. When you do this, a wonderful liberation occurs. The fear of man falls away. The need for recognition dissolves. You are free to be truly kind, truly generous, truly faithful, because the only opinion that matters has already declared his boundless love for you. This concentration purifies every motive and magnifies every act in the heavenly realms. What does this legacy look like when it is complete? It is a life that becomes a portal of my presence. Your hidden faithfulness has so saturated your being that you carry an atmosphere of heaven with you. Where you walk, peace has a better chance to settle. Where you speak, truth finds a clearer channel. Where you pray, strongholds are destabilized. This is not your power. It is the accumulated residue of 1,000 small surrenders. You have become a clean vessel, a sharp sword, a faithful steward, and I entrust more of my spirit, my authority, and my resources to you. This legacy is also a generational blessing. The spiritual strongholds you tear down through hidden prayer become open doors of calling for your children. The cycles of sin you break through secret obedience become lineages of grace. Your faithfulness creates a land of blessing that your descendants will inherit with gratitude, even if they never fully know your story. You are not just living for yourself. You are a spiritual pioneer, clearing a path through dense wilderness for those who will come after you. Finally, my beloved, this legacy is your eternal identity. In that great day, when all that is hidden is revealed, the most profound moments of your existence will not be the awards or accomplishments known to men. The moments that will define you for eternity will be the secret ones. When you loved the unlovable, when you believed me in the dark, when you chose me over your own comfort, I will say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." The emphasis is not on successful or brilliant or famous, but on faithful. Faithful in the small, faithful in the secret, faithful in the mundane. This faithfulness is the currency of heaven, and it purchases an authority and an intimacy that will define your fellowship with me forever. So, how do you start building this legacy today? You simply offer your next moment, your next breath as a prayer, your next task as worship, your next interaction as a ministry of presence. You do not need a grand plan. You need a surrendered now. Legacy is not built in a day. It is built day by the compounding interest of small, holy choices. Look at your hands again, my child. They are not empty. They hold the tools of legacy building. Your attention, your will, your love, your time. Use them today in the hidden place. Tend to your secret history with me. Choose consistency. Play to my audience alone. The world may never write your biography, but I am. And I am filling it with the glorious, ordinary, unseen victories of a heart that learned to trust me in all things. This is the legacy that moth and rust cannot destroy, that thieves cannot steal. It is hidden with Christ in God. And when Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory, carrying the full weight of the legacy you built, one small, faithful act at a time. Go now, my legacy builder. Your eternity is taking shape in the quiet choices of this very day. Build beautifully.